Rain hammered against the windshield as Michael slammed his fist on the steering wheel. His luxury sedan swerved slightly before he jerked it back onto the road. 20 years, he screamed into the empty car. 20 years I gave them everything. His phone buzzed relentlessly on the passenger seat, each notification another knife in his back. Headlines flashed across the screen. CEO Michael Greene accused of corporate fraud. Greene Industries collapses overnight. Investors flee as scandal breaks. He snatched the phone and hurled it against the dashboard, watching it shatter into pieces. The rain poured harder, matching the storm raging inside him. This couldn't be happening. Not to him. Not to Michael Greene, the man who built an empire from nothing, who turned every deal into gold, who never lost. But tonight, he'd lost everything. 6 months earlier, life had looked very different. Michael sat at the head of a mahogany table in his penthouse office, surrounded by lawyers and executives. His phone rang for the 3rd time in 10 minutes. Clara's name lit up the screen. He declined the call and turned back to the contract in front of him. "Sir, your wife's been trying to reach you all day," his assistant whispered. "Tell her I'm in meetings," Michael said without looking up. "This deal closes tonight, and I'm not losing $50 million because I forgot to pick up dry cleaning." At home that evening, Clara sat alone at their dining table, a cold dinner spread before her. When Michael finally walked through the door at midnight, she didn't even look up. "You missed another anniversary dinner," she said quietly. "Clara, I'm building us a legacy here. You think this lifestyle pays for itself?" He loosened his tie and poured himself a drink. "The yacht you wanted? The summer house in the Hamptons? That all comes from nights like this." "I never asked for any of that, Michael. I asked for you." Her voice cracked. "When was the last time we actually talked? Really talked? We're talking now, aren't we?" She stood up, tears streaming down her face. "No, Michael. You're talking. You've been talking at me for 5 years, but you stopped listening a long time ago." He waved her off. "You're being dramatic. We're fine." "We're not fine. I'm not fine." Clara grabbed her purse and headed toward the door. "And the saddest part, you don't even notice." Michael watched her leave, then returned to his drink. She'd cool off. She always did. Money solved everything eventually, but money couldn't solve what came next. His business partner, David, the man he'd trusted for 15 years, walked into his office 3 weeks later with federal investigators. Michael's blood ran cold as they laid out documents, recordings, evidence of embezzlement that pointed straight to him. Documents he'd never seen, signatures that looked like his but weren't. "David, what is this?" Michael's hands shook as he flipped through the files. David wouldn't meet his eyes. "I'm sorry, Mike. They gave me immunity. It was either you or me, and I have kids to think about. I trusted you. We built this together." "No," David said coldly. "You built an empire. I was just another asset. You taught me that everything has a price. Turns out my price was freedom." Within 48 hours, everything unraveled. Investors pulled out. The board voted him out. His accounts were frozen. Friends stopped returning calls. The press devoured him. And Clara? She'd already filed for divorce. Now, driving through the storm with nowhere to go, Michael realized he had nothing. The mansion was seized. His cars were being repossessed. His reputation was destroyed. He'd measured his worth in dollars for so long that he'd never built anything that couldn't be bought or sold. He pulled off the highway near a small town he'd never heard of. Through the rain, he spotted a tiny diner with a flickering neon sign. Mary's Place. He had $17 in his pocket and no other options. The bell above the door chimed as he walked in, soaked to the bone. The diner was nearly empty, just a family of 4 sharing a single plate of fries and laughing like they'd won the lottery. An elderly woman with kind eyes approached him. "Coffee?" she asked warmly. I don't have much money, Michael admitted, the words burning his throat. Then it's on the house. She smiled and gestured to a booth. You look like you've been through hell and back, honey. Sit. Michael collapsed into the worn vinyl seat. The woman returned with coffee and a sandwich. I'm Mary. I own this place. Well, me and the bank own it, she chuckled. And you are? Nobody, Michael said bitterly. I used to be somebody, but now I'm nobody. Mary slid into the seat across from him. Now that's the biggest lie I've heard all week, and I've heard some doozies. You're somebody because you're breathing. Everything else is just decoration. Easy for you to say. You didn't lose everything overnight. Didn't I? Mary's eyes twinkled. Lost my husband to cancer 12 years ago. Lost my savings paying for treatments that didn't work. Lost my house, my car, almost lost this diner 3 times. But here I am, richest woman in town. Michael looked around the shabby diner. How do you figure that? Because I've got love, honey. I've got gratitude. I've got people who walk through that door every day and remind me why I'm still here. She nodded toward the family. See them. Lost their home last month, but they're together and they're grateful for that. They tip me in smiles, and that's worth more than all the money in the world. That's naive, Michael muttered. Is it? Mary stood up. You're welcome to stay and find out. I could use help with the dishes if you're interested. Pays in meals, not cash. Something in her offer cracked something in Michael. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Don't need to know your past to see your present. And right now, you need someone to see you as more than your worst day. She patted his shoulder. Gratitude doesn't wait for happiness, son. It creates it. Michael returned to Mary's diner the next day, and the day after that. He washed dishes, cleaned tables, listened to stories from people who had nothing but gave everything. An elderly man named Frank, who tipped in quarters he'd saved all week. A single mother who shared her fries with her kids and called it a feast. A construction worker who paid his bill and left money for whoever needed it next. Why are they so happy? Michael asked Mary one evening. They have nothing. They have everything that matters, Mary said. Love, purpose, gratitude. You spent your whole life chasing more, Michael. They spend theirs appreciating enough. The words hit him like a freight train. He'd spent 20 years building wealth and 0 seconds building worth. He'd collected things but lost people. He'd won deals but lost his wife. That night, Michael started writing. Not business plans or strategies, but letters to Clara, to people he'd hurt, to himself. He wrote about regret, about blindness, about the hollowness of success without substance. He wrote until his hand cramped and his tears smudged the ink. 3 months later, on a Tuesday evening, Clara walked through the diner door. Michael's heart stopped. She looked older, tired, but her eyes still held that spark he'd fallen in love with 15 years ago. Michael, her voice was barely a whisper. I've been looking for you. Your lawyer said you'd disappeared. He stood up slowly, afraid she'd vanish if he moved too fast. I'm sorry, Clara, for everything, for choosing money over you, for measuring my worth in things that don't matter, for forgetting that the richest I ever was the day you said yes to me. Tears streamed down her face. Why didn't you fight for us when you had everything? Because I thought I had everything, but I didn't have anything until I lost it all. He took her hands. I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm asking you to let me prove I've finally learned what matters. Clara looked around the diner, at Mary watching hopefully from behind the counter, at the worn booths and chipped mugs. What happened to you here? I remembered how to be human, how to be grateful, how to love without conditions or contracts. He smiled through his tears. Mary taught me that true riches aren't in bank accounts. They're in moments, in kindness, in second chances, in you. Clara sat down across from him. Then let's start there, not with houses or cars or money, with us, with gratitude, with love. Michael and Clara rebuilt their lives slowly. They started a foundation helping families who'd lost everything, using his business knowledge for good instead of greed. They volunteered at shelters. They ate at Mary's diner every week. They learned to measure wealth in laughter, in helping hands, in quiet mornings together. One evening, Michael brought Mary flowers. She was wiping down tables, humming softly to herself. "Thank you," he said simply, "for seeing me when I couldn't see myself." Mary hugged him tight. "Just promise me you'll pay it forward. Keep spreading gratitude like wildfire." "Every single day," Michael promised. As he walked out, holding Clara's hand, he realized something profound. He'd been richer in that moment, with nothing but love and gratitude, than he'd ever been in his penthouse counting millions. True wealth wasn't measured in dollars. It was measured in hearts touched, lives changed, and love given freely. The richest people aren't those with the most money. They're those with the most gratitude and love to give. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to The Story Alchemist for more life-changing stories. And drop a comment below telling us what you're most grateful for today, because gratitude shared is gratitude multiplied. See you in the next story.